Hey everyone, Lucas Gillespie here, Director of Digital Learning and Media for Surrey County Schools. And in case you missed the workshop, I wanted to share some tips and tricks with you on setting up your elementary Canvas page. Let's get started. So here are our goals for today's session. There's a few of them. One, we want to take time to let you explore how you might begin to set up a Canvas page specifically for elementary students. And I'm going to show you an example that might give you some ideas, get you some inspiration to get started. Two, we're going to explore templates, talk about where to find them, how to get them. It's a great way to get started, and of course, you can customize them to meet your needs. The third thing we're going to do is talk about reducing the noise. As you know from being in it, Canvas can be a pretty noisy place. There's lots of things to click on. And of course, for our youngest learners, we want to reduce the noise that's there. So I'm going to show you some ways to do that. We're also going to talk about putting stuff into modules. Remember, modules are just folders, and those are how we organize our course in different ways. And then, of course, there's going to be opportunities between my demonstrations for you to pause the video, go practice these things, and then come back and continue your learning. Last thing I want to show you is a collection of resources for elementary educators using Canvas that were shared. These resources were shared with me by the awesome folks at Canvas. And then there's some resources that I have found personally, and I've added to that. And I'm going to show you where to find those as well so that they can help you continue on your journey using Canvas. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing I want to do is I want to show you an example that I've put together to kind of give you some, maybe some inspiration or to help you get started in thinking about what this might look like for your students. Okay, so here is a Canvas page that I set up as though I were a fourth grade teacher. Now, those of you who are teaching fourth grade, please go easy on me. I don't have any experience, and that's probably going to be obvious here. But based off of what I know and some things that I've seen, I think this will help you get started. What I did was I downloaded one of the templates from the Commons that we put together for our teachers in the district. Now, this is the one that's listed as, I think, 3.5 elementary template. And it's built, the modules are built around a days of the week format. So you'll have week 7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, week 8, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so forth. Okay, we'll talk about those in a moment and what they might look like as well. So here you can see that I have put together a banner at the top. I used Canva.com to do that. There's going to be a whole nother workshop about making graphics for your Canvas course using Canva coming up soon. And then other than that, these other graphics that are on the page are designed to simplify navigation for our young students. Really, there's one button that they're going to click, and it's this week's learning activities. And when they click on that, it'll take them directly to the published module for that week. So here it is, week 7, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the activities that are there. Okay, so I'm actually going to go back and we'll look at some of the other things that I've got on this front page. These buttons down here at the bottom were added. These are probably going to be mostly used by parents visiting our site wanting to help their students. So there is the schedule. And this links out to a page in the course. It's already set up. You can, of course, adjust the times and all the details as you need to. But this is a sample schedule that's linked from that front page. We also have a section that will link to help. This is for students. So it jumps down to this module here that talks about how they can get class help. This is built into this template, so it's really nice. You can fill this out and add the school telephone number, the website, other contact information. And then there's information about how students can get the app to use on their mobile device as well. Again, this is all optional stuff. If you want it, keep it. If you don't, ditch it. It's fine. And there's also a link to a discussion board where students can ask a question for their teacher. So feel free to use that if you want to. Again, it's optional. So let's go back to the home page and I'll show you the other parts here. So the news button is going to link to the announcement section. Remember, the announcements allow us to send out communications to all of our students and our parents that are associated with those students. So if we have a big event coming up. Maybe there's a play coming up, or maybe there is yearbook dues are coming soon, or something like that. You can post that announcement here, and all of your students will see it, and your parents will. And if they have the mobile app, they'll get a notification. If they've set it up to receive those notifications, they'll get notified via their phone. So that's pretty handy as well. And then lastly, there's a button here that I'm using that links out to resources for parents. Again, this is one of those pages that's built into the template that you download from the district, well, from the commons that we've put together in the district. And of course, this is certainly editable. You should edit it because it's got the filler text in there right now. So some tips on helping your child succeed in the class, links to the student guide, what if your child has missed class, about things about the state test, etc. Again, this is all customizable. This is just an idea to help you get started. So feel free to edit this or to not use it at all. That's fine. Okay, so let me jump back here and I'm going to actually click over here to the modules section for just a moment to talk about the setup of these modules. Again, we're talking about a template. This is not a thou shalt sort of thing, all right? This is not one of the, we don't expect that everybody have this cookie cutter sort of setup in their Canvas. That is up to you, how you set it up. All right, so this is just a model. So every week in this example would start out with a start here and a week 1 activities list. And this is where the teacher can come in and just basically say, hey, this is what we're going to be talking about this week. And a brief synopsis, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then here are the learning targets that we'll be addressing this week in the activities. Again, something that's optional if you want to use it. It's there for you. And then it's broken down, divided in by these things called text headers that we'll talk about in just a moment. And we're going to go through those and talk about how to add those and then how to add these activities in that you might want to consider using later on. So a lot of people, when they get started with Canvas, are a little overwhelmed or intimidated by just the blank emptiness of a starter course or what we would call a course shell. And that's to be expected. So one of the things that we have made available as a resource are some templates to help you get started. And I'm going to show you in just a moment how to access those templates. If you've already gone through this training or you feel comfortable with this, then feel free just to skim ahead and skip this part of the video. Adding a template to your course is pretty simple. It's just a few steps that you'll need to follow to make that happen. And so I'm going to demonstrate those for you right now. So here I am on my dashboard and you see my published and my unpublished courses. And the first thing I would recommend doing is you want to test drive any template before you actually really commit to it. So what I always do is just create a new course, a sandbox or whatever, and pull that template into it and click around to see if I like it. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to click start a new course. I'm going to give this course a name. I'm going to call it template test drive. You can call it whatever you want. And this content license thing here, you can just leave that. It's fine. I'm going to click create a course. And here it is. Here's that blank template and there's just nothing there. And oh my goodness, there's nothing there. So here's what we need to do. We're going to import from Commons. Remember, the Commons is just a place where users of Canvas all over the world share resources. As I mentioned in the previous workshop, it's like this big rabbit hole. It's like going into Pinterest and just getting lost in there. There's tons of good stuff here, some better than others. So anyway, we're going to talk about how to find our templates. Now, the templates that we have from Surry County Schools so far are always going to show up here at the top, at least for now, as featured content. So these 4 templates here across the top are what you will probably want to start with. What I built my template off of that I demonstrated earlier was this 3.5 elementary template. It's very similar, but with some different graphics from this SES Canvas course template, this K2 one. Very similar setup, just a couple differences in the graphics. This template over here on the far right that says 312 is a template that's built around the 5E model. So rather than breaking your modules down into days of the week, it breaks a module down almost like a unit or a lesson sort of format where there's those different elements of the 5E model there. So we're going to click on this 3-5 elementary course template. And when you're looking at resources inside of the Commons, a lot of times you can get a preview without actually committing to it. But it's fine. Remember, there's no limit on the number of courses that we can make. So feel free to just go ahead and download it and click around and see if you like it. So once I've said, yeah, this is the one I want, I'm going to click on Import Download. And this little window is going to slide out from the right. And it's going to say, hey, which of your courses do you want to put this template into? So let's see here. What did I call that? Template test drive right here at the end. So I'm going to check that box. Now you can actually do multiple courses at once if you want to. It's certainly possible. If you already have content in the course, this will not overwrite things. It just adds the content to it. And then you may need to go in and publish and unpublish stuff to turn it on or off, depending on whether you want to keep it. So since my course is blank, that's not going to be an issue. So I'm going to click on template test drive and import into course. Now Canvas is going to give me this nice little message here. It says you've successfully started the import. It may take a little bit, usually a couple minutes, and my stuff is going to be there. So I'm going to head back to my dashboard. And if I scroll down, you'll see the courses, and this is an unpublished course because I've not published it yet and made it available to anybody. So it's just me kind of playing around. I'm going to go ahead and click it to see if the content's there yet. No, not quite yet. So we're going to wait just a minute and it should pop in. So I just refreshed my dashboard, and usually when the course card, if the course has one, once that shows up, that's usually an indication that your course is there. So and is successfully imported from the Commons. So I'm going to click that and open that up, and yeah, sure enough, here's the course stuff. Now again, all of this is customizable. You know this looks very different from the one that I just demonstrated earlier because I took all of these buttons out because I'm going to put all of my content, math, science, ELA, social studies, all into one single Canvas course. And just to let you know, the thing that will mean is that we're not going to be doing grade passback. We'll still have to manually enter grades into Power Teacher Pro, but it's just going to be a lot easier that way than trying to link out to all of the individual courses. You probably see all of those that were imported from Power School down in your unpublished courses section. So yeah, just don't worry about that stuff. It's fine. We don't have to do anything with it. Just let it be, and it'll be fine. So anyway, I edited that. This course is ready to start working with now. And again, that's all from going into the Commons, finding something I like, and importing it into an empty course shell or a course that may already have stuff in it. And then I just go in and turn on what I want to keep and turn off what I don't, or delete what I don't. So if you haven't played around with importing content from the Commons like templates or even full courses or lessons or modules or whatever, now's a good time to try it. You may want to pause the video, go give it a try, explore around. Don't get too lost. Time will slip away from you as you're in there looking at all the resources and stuff that's there. But once you're done, come back and feel free. We'll continue moving through this workshop today. So the next thing I want to talk to you about is how we reduce what I call the noise of Canvas for our elementary learners. Now, our middle and our high school students, it's still a good idea to do this, is to cut back on some of the things that are there, just to reduce the things that people can click on. Remember that our navigation, the important things are still going to be there for our students regardless, because they'll go through the modules. But let's talk about how to do that. Now, in case you missed the setting up your homepage workshop that I did last week, there's a link to a video that'll walk you through, just like this one, all the things that we covered in that, and that's linked here. So let's talk about this, and I'm gonna walk through the steps of reducing some of the course navigation, and then I'll demo it, and then you can pause the video and try it yourself. So when I am looking at my page in Canvas, you'll notice that we have all of these links here to things like announcements and people and discussions and grades and syllabus and collaborations and rubrics and so forth and so on. It just goes on and on and on. And if I don't see this little eyeball with the slash through it beside something, it means it's going to be visible to students in my course. If I see this little symbol here, this little eyeball with a slash through it, it means that it's not visible to my students. Okay, but still, as it is now, there's still a lot here that's going to crowd things up. So what I want to do is I want to go into Canvas and I'm going to click on Settings within my course navigation. And then I'm going to see these tabs at the top. I'm going to click on the one that says Navigation. And then I simply drag and drop things that I don't want to be visible from this top menu down to this bottom menu, and then save. All right, so let's talk, let me step out of this and we'll go into the Canvas course and I'll demonstrate that for you and show you how much better it looks when you reduce some of the clutter. Okay, so here I am back in my sample fourth grade class. And I've set it up so that you can see the process of decluttering the navigation menu in action. First off, I want to point out a really cool feature that exists here for us as teachers within our courses, and that is the student view. You know, we see a lot of things here. We see everything as the teacher of the course, but what would our students see? So I'm going to click on that to show you how this would look to a student. And you always know that you're in student view because you'll see this sort of pink bar down at the bottom. Okay. And then when I'm done looking at things through the student view, I just click the, let's see here, the button in the lower right that says leave student view. So here it is. Again, my buttons, and hopefully the way that I make my graphics, the colorfulness, the pictures that I use on it are going to be clues to the students that this is really where they need to click. But some of this stuff over here in this navigation menu can be distracting. So let's talk about how to get rid of it. So I'm going to leave the student view. And from here, I want to click on Settings. Now, you probably started out Settings in the Course Details tab. And so what I want to do is switch to Navigation. And here you see those course navigation items, home and announcements and modules and so forth. So really, what is it that my students would need access to? My elementary students don't really need access to the discussions link because all of their discussions that they'll be doing are going to be in the modules anyway. So I'm going to take that out. They don't need access to the course files. They don't really need access to the grades section. They don't need access to rubrics or the syllabus or to be able to just look at all the different pages in the course. Really, they may not even need the announcements and the module section because I link to those from my main front page. But I'm going to leave those for now because that's fine. It's just another way to get to them. Don't forget when you do these changes in the navigation to come down and click Save when you're done. I have forgotten that and wonder like why didn't it change anything? Okay, so I'm going to click back to home. And it still looks a little cluttered to me as a teacher, but remember, we want to see it as the student view. So I'm going to click on student view, and there we go. Much less distracting here for our students. So that's helpful. Yeah, that's going to reduce some of the things that they can click on. I recommend doing that. So I'm going to leave student view, and then we'll go ahead and talk about our next item. Before we jump into our next topic, though, this is a good time to pause the video, go back into your Canvas sandbox or wherever you're working and practice decluttering and using that student view to see what it would look like for students. So take a moment to do that if you haven't already, and then come back to the video and we will move on to our next topic. Okay, so in this part of the workshop, we want to talk about putting stuff into our modules. So we've got all these modules. We've got this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing set up, but how do I put my content in there? You know, we're going to work on this particular math activity on Monday and this ELA activity on Monday. And then we're going to do some science on Tuesday and some social studies on Wednesday, et cetera, et cetera. So, how do I get all of that stuff into my course and organize it? Well, that's really where modules come in. And I want to walk you through the basics of just working with modules, adding content to it, and creating these activities for your students to use. So, I'm going to first walk through the steps in my slides, and then I'll take you out and demo how those things work. Okay, so when I'm working with modules, you'll see at the very top of any module, there's going to be a plus symbol. That plus symbol is what's going to allow me to add more content, more items, activities, tests, quizzes, discussions, pages, etc. to any module. Remember, and I keep saying this because it's important, modules are just folders, and you can think of them just like folders in your file cabinet. Do you put folders in your file cabinet by weeks or maybe by lessons or by units? It's really up to you. They're very flexible. So the first thing you're going to do is click that plus symbol, and that's going to pop open a window that's going to look like this. And at the top of that window, there's a drop down because Canvas wants to know, well, what kind of activity or thing do I want to put into my module? Do I want to put in an assignment, a discussion, an assessment of some sort, maybe a page with some information, an embedded video, whatever? I'm going to click that and select the kind of item that I want. And then for the most of you, most of the time, you're going to click this thing at the very top that says new page or new assessment or new discussion. It's going to have in here any previous content that you've created in the course below that, but you're going to want to click the new thing when you're creating new stuff, obviously. Now, there's a there's a really useful thing in there, and again, I think this is useful for our elementary students, but also our really any students, anyone, as a way of organizing and just kind of breaking up activities and making some sense out of it. And those are called text headers. Text headers are just labels that go in there. They don't do anything. They're not clickable or anything like that for students. They just kind of break up a module into different sections. So in the template that I suggested that you download in this video, that weekly module is broken down into a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday by text headers. And again, that's something that you'll simply go and click that plus and you'll see that as an option, text header. And you can label it. It'll just, you type in what you want to appear there. It's pretty easy. Again, if you want to, as you create things to put into modules, the new things will show up at the bottom. So maybe you think, oh, well, I've created this activity that I want to be in Monday. How do I get it there? Well, it's really as simple as dragging and dropping it. You're going to move your mouse down until you have moved it over the little 6 dots that are side by side. And you just click and you drag it and drop it wherever you want it to appear in the module. It's that easy. Just drag and drop. Okay, so let me demo that for you here in our Canvas course, and then we'll let you pause and you can go and play around with the modules yourself. Okay, so here I am in my sample course that I put together for this workshop. Here it says week 7. I just picked that as an arbitrary number. You could label it week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could label it October 12th through October 17th. However you want to set it up, that's up to you. One thing I will tell you is that think about this when you're designing stuff. Be careful using dates that are specific because if you reuse this stuff year after year, you'll just have to go in and change every date every single time. But using more generic sorts of labels like week 1, week 2, week 3 frees you from being bound by specific dates and having to go in and edit everything. Just a tip. I try to recommend that people design in such a way that things are future proof, which I mean by that is that you're working smarter, not harder. And so ultimately, the work that you do now as you prepare for next year is just going to make next year easier when you get to it. That stuff's already going to be there, and you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel. So typically, that means not using specific dates, not referring to events that are specific to a time and a place. It makes your content more usable in the future. Just a tip. Okay, so here I am, and I'm going to add a new. Let's put in a discussion for later in the week. So I'm going to click the plus here, and again, that window pops up, and it's going to ask me what do I want to put in. Do I want to put in an assignment, a quiz, a file, a page, a discussion, text header, a link to a website outside of Canvas. So, for example, if you're using like an assessment tool or some sort of enrichment website, you can link directly to that here, or an external tool. So I'm going to do a discussion. This is one of the most, in my opinion, underutilized resources in an LMS, whether it's our current one or as we're moving forward with Canvas. It's such a powerful tool to have students writing and conversing with each other, responding to each other through discussion posts. So we're going to do a discussion, and we're going to do one on, we'll just pretend that we did a forces and motion video. So I'm going to call this forces and motion, if I can spell it, forces and motion discussion. Okay. And I'm going to click add item. Now, you're like, where did it go? I don't see it. Well, remember, new items are going to appear at the bottom. And I want to put that right up here in Thursday. So I'm just clicking that little dot, those little dots. It's actually 8 dots, isn't it? I thought it was 6. All right, and I'm going to drop it right there. Now you'll notice something here. You notice that it's not green. There's no green in this. Well, why is it not green and everything else is? Well, it's because I haven't published it yet. And published just means it's visible to my students that are enrolled or on the roster or enrolled in the course. It's easy to publish a thing. You just click this little slash thing right here to publish or unpublish, and now it's published. Now you might be thinking, hey, but it's still, there's nothing, it's not green right here. Well, and the icon's not green. Well, this is something I realized today, is that Canvas is kind of showing you like, hey, you've got a thing in here, but it's empty. There's nothing in it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll this is just a demonstration of how to set up a discussion post. So I'm going to click on that, and forces in motion discussion. So I'm going to edit it, and you'll notice that it pops up the rich content editor, just like when I'm working on pages or anything else. So what I could actually do here is I could put in a video for students to watch. Maybe I found this really great Bill Nye the Science Guy video, or some other video on YouTube that really talks about forces in motion. I can embed that video here, and then say, okay, now that you've watched that video, answer the following questions in the discussion. And one of the things that I love about Canvas, and I highly suggest people do this too, is clicking this box here. Users must post before seeing replies. So what this is going to do is to force students to post something original before they can see what the other students have posted. It's a really good tip. Forces them to really not kind of copy paste or get their ideas from other students' posts. And then if you want to grade this, then you can click graded, and it will become an item in your grade book, and you can set how much that is worth, 100 points or whatever, and so forth. Anyway, there's a lot of other options here. We're really going to go more in depth into discussion posts later on, but I just wanted to show you that while we're here. And I'm going to click save to save that item. It says publish now, and there's some, well, let's see. Actually, let's see if it shows up. Let me go back to modules where we were. And yeah, forces in motion. Since I've edited and added content, now it shows up as green. So anyway, that's how I add new items, new discussions, etc., activities to my modules. Again, it's just click plus, put in what kind of thing I want, drag it to where I want it, and it's done. So a lot, for those of you who are transitioning from our former LMS, Haiku or Power School Learning, a lot of what you would create was on-page text or on-screen text blocks. That's really going to be your pages here. And so you're going to create a page and do the same kind of stuff here, and then just arrange it. And then the activities and so forth are going to be listed in here as well, depending on where you want them. So that's how you add content to modules. It's a good idea for you now to go out and try it yourself. So we're going to pause. This is a good time to pause the video, and you go out and try it. And when you're ready to move on, we're just going to talk a little bit more about some resources for you to explore when you get back to help you on your journey. Okay, so how did the playing with module stuff go? Hope that went well for you. I hope you were able to play around with the different activities and start to get some ideas about how you will leverage Canvas to really get your students thinking and learning. It's a fantastic digital tool. There's a lot that you can do with it. And just to give you some ideas about how educators all around the world are using Canvas with elementary students, I've put up an entire section in my Canvas resource for educators Canvas course that's just resources for littles, resources for our youngest learners. So I'm going to quickly click there and show you how to get to that. Um, and um, and then we'll go from there. So this link, and I will share this in the Facebook community and share it with the resources, and obviously I have shared it in the chat with the live workshop. But this Canvas resources for educators page that I've put together is going to be a growing, ongoing resource for you as you're exploring Canvas. Now, the resources for littles is here in the lower right corner, so I'm just going to click that link. And just a big shout out to the folks at Canvas, our North Carolina K-12 support team. They were so awesome in sharing some of these resources with me. And so I took what they shared, I went through them, formatted them, put some descriptions in, and just kind of organized them a little bit just so you could go in and explore on your own. So there's some different sections in there's watch. These are all videos that interview teachers or show how teachers are using Canvas with elementary students. There are some articles here for you to read about how teachers are using Canvas with elementary students. There are some links out to Canvas community groups. For example, the Canvas community in general is linked here. We also have that Canvas Facebook group for elementary educators, which is such a good and vibrant community. Some guides here, and then more resources. And then some PD sort of workshop sorts of ideas and resources for you here as well under the Learn section. So I highly encourage you that you go here and spend a little time exploring. In fact, I would recommend pausing this video now and heading out to that link and going through some of those resources before wrapping up. So anyway, let's pause here and I'll let you go and do that, and then we'll come back and finish up this video. So this brings us to the end of this video workshop session. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Hopefully these are just a few tips and tricks that will help you get started working to build your Canvas course for your elementary students. I am always here for you as a resource. All you need to do is just shoot me an email or call me at the district office. I'm more than happy to help you out. And if you need me to, I'm happy to schedule a time with you to do some one-on-one workshop activity help sessions as well via Google Meet. So just let me know, reach out to me. I'm here to help you. Hope you all have a great day. Thanks for joining me. See you soon.